Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of So What's Been Happening. This one, episode 203. This one's taken a while. When I say taken a while, we kind of journeyed above 200, the classic podcast that was never supposed to go past episode one. We zoomed through 100 episodes and quickly have now pushed through 200. So we're kind of in uncharted territories. We're trying to work through what's next. What are we going to do next? A few people have asked me to do kind of a few live Q&As in respect of at venues. We're kind of still working through what that looks like. I'd like to do some in-person podcasts over time, but kind of let's see where this rolls. As long as you guys want me to still keep interviewing artists, I'm more than happy to do so. So this is an exciting time for me, especially tonight, to have a chat to Nathan Cavaleri. Nathan Cavaleri is a name that is synonymous with music for me. Growing up in the early days of being gripped by music, I came across this young kid, a few years younger than me, that blew my mind. I'll be perfectly honest, and blew a lot of people's minds around the world. Let's face it. What a talent. But so many chapters to Nathan's life that we're going to chat a little bit about tonight. We won't go completely into the journey because there's shows and there's gigs and there's all sorts of things to talk about into the future of where Nathan will help enlighten you in the rest of his journey. But I'd like to definitely touch on some of the elements of his life and his journeys and struggles as well. With inside every negative comes a hell of a lot of positives sometimes. But I just want to touch on a couple of gigs coming up also as well, and no more exciting than Nathan's tour he's about to embark on shortly, but just been announced today. Hopefully he doesn't mind me giving this one a quick plug as well. Nathan's going to jump on the journey of the Tea Party. So there's three venues that Nathan will be appearing at, supporting Tea Parties. That's a big deal. But I mean, to be expected. This guy is a big deal. Let's face it. And a couple Valentine's Day specials. This one, jump in the car and get up to Castlemaine, Skyscraper Stand, a friend of ours. That's a matinee gig. Get along to that one and then jump in the car and head back to one of either two venues. A band called Big League, who's friends of ours, with also comedy, Fleeting Persuasion, and The Murder. Murder 8 Takeover. Get along to that one. That one is at the Tote upstairs. Or I'm going to give you last one that a band is killing it at the moment. Think Beatles, very much Beatles-esque, but a modern-day Beatles version. The Gnomes just put out an album, so make sure you get along to that. They're selling out all over the place, so it won't be long before these guys hit the road, and you will see them on the world stage very soon. But tonight, it is all about Nathan Cavaleri. So let's bring him up for a chat. Let's bring him up. Here we go. G'day, Nath. How are you, mate?
Hey, mate. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining me tonight on a Tuesday night, the 10th of Feb, for episode 203 of So What's Been Happening.
Congratulations, mate. And I've got to say, did I see that Electric Mary did the intro song?
You did, yeah.
Because I was like, I heard a lick and I went, that's an Electric Mary lick, I reckon. And then the riff and stuff, and then what do you know? So those guys, special place in my heart. I toured with them for about a month when Erwin couldn't, back in the days when Erwin was doing it, but he couldn't do this particular leg of the tour, and that was just, oh man, talk about reconnecting me with guitar. That tour did that.
Yeah, really exciting. And in actual fact, that's actually how the two of us connected. I've spoken to Rusty multiple times about you, and he's talked about different people I should interview, and he definitely said I should interview you and your story. But it was actually, out of all the new world of social media and journeying on different platforms, it was actually on TikTok that I actually hit you up and asked you that Electric Mary were about to play their last ever gig, and I asked you if you were going, and there was a little chat in amongst that where you told me about Hellfest and a few other things. So thanks for connecting.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely, mate. Yeah.
It's always a great night to talk about music, or any night is, isn't it? And a beautiful little studio you've got there too.
Yeah, this is where it all happens. Got a little 70s Ludwig over there, some amps, got a JTM 45, an old 60s Princeton. Yeah, it's I don't have many guitars. I'm more of a minimalist, so no, they've been acquired over a long period of time, and they've all got sort of sentimental value as well. I probably should cull, I reckon. Yeah, but it's hard to give away a baby, you know.
Yeah. And I bet just on that, let's kick off with a quick question of, is there a favorite baby, or it depends what you're playing and what mood
Right
you're in?
now, right now I'm loving this one. This is a deluxe Fender made for me. It's beautiful. For a long time I was using this 335, which where are we? This this 335 is great, and I didn't know that the 335 could rock, because this was I don't know, I just thought, playing with BB King, I associated 335s with blues and jazz guitars, and it wasn't until I plugged a friend of mine in that I'm like, damn, this thing rocks. And so this was kind of my baby throughout my older band, Nat Cole and the Kings. And then I just, and also some of my, my new stuff, but I felt like I needed just a little bit of a telly vibe, but not too much, not single coil telly, like still a, humbucker or PAF sort of situation. And that thing's my baby now. It's just, that's what I'll use both of these on the road, actually. So, yeah.
Nice to hear. All right, we're going to kick off with a couple of just quick fire questions just to kind of open up the mood a little. But your first ever guitar riff you ever learnt off by heart? We're going back now.
The most unblues riff, like people, the blues was like my thing. It's at my heart. Yet the first riff I ever learnt was "Hit Me With Your Best Shot," Pat Benatar.
Yeah, nice.
And then not too long after that was probably like "Looking for Love," Injectors. I found those types of riffs were pretty easy to get my little fingers around, because they're just two note power chord, the derivatives of a big power chord. So and not long after that it was the 12-bar blues.
Yeah. And you've found plenty of guitars and touched plenty of guitars over your life so far. Have you got one that's on your to-do or wish list?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm on the hunt for a good 12 string at the moment. 12 string is that flavor is kind of new to me. It's and it's amazing, like when you hear lots of different flavors and sounds, like they're always around, but sometimes you just go through a phase where it speaks to you just that little bit more, and then you got to go get it. So I'm messing around with like a little mini Maton 12 string, which is pretty cool. And but I like these days I like finding also just the little rare gems that you might not necessarily, and they're not necessarily expensive. They're just, you pick them up and it doesn't matter what badge is on it, and you just go, damn, this is cool. Like this where is it? It's oh, there it is. Kind of like this Mustang copy. And like this thing is made by Thompson, which was like, apparently what I understand is like the Suzuki factory. And back in the 70s and 80s, they made all these amazing little copies, and this thing is amazing. And it's got so much resonance. But then I've got like this guy here. And this is just a Squire, and it's like but it's a baritone guitar with P90s, and it's just so rich and warm. And actually a guy on Twitch, because I stream on Twitch, he spray painted it for me, and he said, what do you like? And I said, oh, can you do something that looks sort of like a fancy glittery muscle car? So that's what we did.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Like I think acoustics are an interesting one for me, because I've never really dived into the world of acoustics yet. I have a lot of acoustic flavors in my stuff, so I don't think I've got a great home with a Yamaha acoustic, and that feels home for me. And in the studio, and it's a great all rounder as well. I take it on the road; it's beautiful. And but in the studio, like when you really want to sort of fine tune, like what's that sound? This is why I have so many different flavors. They're things that I won't take on the road because they're so specialized, and you just can't lug around all that, you know. And but yeah, I could talk about guitars for hours.
I'm sure you can. And just a couple of last ones before we get into the chat is if I could drop someone in your room now to jam with you, whether they be living or dead as an artist, who would you love to still jam with or be able to jam with?
Probably like Josh Homme, I reckon. Yeah, Queens of the Stone Age. I am such a huge fan. I reckon he would have a real way of breaking me out, like breaking just any sort of limitations, things that kind of keep predictable is the wrong word, but I feel like when I listen to the Queens of the Stone Age, I go, God, I wouldn't have thought about creating a riff like that, but it just works. But it's also not self-indulgent. And I just he's a real bender of rules, that guy. And I love the sounds. There's all this underlying, I don't know if I'm the only one who hears it, but I can hear blues in it, like just the dark side of blues that's mixed with psychedelic rock and grunge, and it's just so good. But you know, there's lots of people that I'd love to play with. Like I'd love to meet Kevin Parker, big fan of Tame Impala, and but you know, just even just the old classics, you know, JJ Cale. Yeah,
it's a sweet time. That whole jam session that you kind of just do now and just rock out and get on socials and invent stuff and play stuff and talk about stuff. How's that kind of outlet been for you? And a bit of a new outlet for a lot of people.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, social media can you can receive a lot from it, but then if you're not careful, it can kind of tip and it ends up draining you. And I've gone, you know, through those sort of ebbs and flows, and it generally is related to whatever my intention is. So if I find that I have tied social media too closely to, you know, needing to sell tickets and make money so I can keep doing this, then I lose connection with the original reason why I do it, which is because I love it and I want to connect with people, share stories, share songs, open up just what this creative process is like, and that naturally sort of put me in front of people that align with that. And but when it starts to get a bit too career driven, which and that, as an self-managed independent artist, it's always a struggle to navigate that line. And but you know, I had a lot of fun. I still have a lot of fun on Twitch. So Twitch and TikTok, I go live on Tuesday nights and Friday nights from 5 p.m. Sydney time. And what I get out of that is just the commitment to show up keeps me well oiled, even when I'm not gigging. So there can be a gig, like say now going on tour with Tea Party. It's like we got told about that this morning. The first show is on Thursday. and if I hadn't been streaming on TikTok and Twitch over the last few months, I'd have cobwebs to blow out, but I never really have any cobwebs unless I'm gone away on a holiday. And so I feel like I'm always improving. And also I love that instant feedback as well. Like it's sort of like a hang in the studio. And although I will say, like, so Miracles, my last studio album. So my last album is Live at the Weedy, which is a live album. It's raw, very raw and unpolished. And but Miracles was the last studio album, and I streamed the whole thing. I streamed, even writing some of the songs, and there was some confronting moments there because I had to kind of forget about the audience, which was a struggle at the start. But after a while, I realized that I didn't have to perform for them; that they were just happy being flies on the walls because they were off doing their thing. They'd have me on in the background. But then there are some really, vulnerable moments when you're making a song where you're trying to hit that note and it's not coming out and you're falling short, or whether it's on the guitar or the vocals or the drums or whatever it is, it's one thing to do that, and the only person who's hearing it is you, and that can be even hard. But to then look at the stream and you've got 60 people that are watching, at least. That's but I also kind of got a lot out of it too, because you realize that everybody's human. And most people are not chasing perfection. They want to see somebody fall short. They want to, it becomes a more relatable experience. So no, I love it.
Yeah, well, I think on behalf of all the punters that have ever tuned into one of your telecasts or little clips or streams that you've put through, mate, thank you for being vulnerable, for opening yourself up, and just letting people into your world. It's a real honest pleasure, and I wish more musicians did it.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, I appreciate that.
All right, we're going to play a little clip that's been pre-recorded for yourself that you use, and it just talks about where does that fire come from, and for people that don't know Nathan Cavaleri, you're going to know him again very soon, for that younger generation coming through, but that older generation, household name absolutely for years. But let's just find out where he's been and what's happening.
I was often asked, how does an 8-year-old play blues with so much emotion and fire? And I reckon it was from when I was sick as a kid, because I'd learned how to channel emotions through the guitar, fear, sadness, anger, and that emotional connection with music has not left me. I still play when I'm sad, I play when I'm angry, I play when I'm happy, I play when I'm turned on. Stripped Down Amped Up is like the live experience version of that, where we give ourselves permission together to feel these big feelings that we wouldn't normally feel in everyday life. Stripped Down Amped Up, let's go.
Absolutely. Let's go. All right. And you are going very soon, getting out there. Let's touch on that. This part of the tour, it's a big one. It's plenty of dates, some all ages gigs in there, which is really exciting as well. Make sure it's coming to a venue near you, and I'm sure it'll get added to over time. There's God, the world needs musicians like yourself, Nathan, that are prepared to get on the road. It's not all about making cash. It's about an education process, really, and talk to us a bit about why that tour means so much to you right now.
Oh, well, I think, Stripped Down Amped Up for me is, it's just like, well, I mean, this is just me, like, as far as the experience from my point of view, it's definitely an evolution, because it's like, it took a lot to get back up on stage. And when I look at footage of myself, because we were documenting a lot of that through vlogs and stuff, it's very inward, very introverted, because I was still at war with my own emotions, my own fears, and the music was kind of like my anchor, and the stage eventually became my anchor, because I also wasn't fully comfortable on stage, but the music helped me to kind of get out of myself, and the more I did those gigs, the easier it got. And then I remember, and that was at the time when I had created Demons. Even when you listen to Demons as an album, it's a little bit more, introverted, contemplative. It still bangs at times, but you can just hear that it's got its own charm because of that. And then when I went on tour for Miracles, and that's when ABC Australian Story did an episode on me, I had been on the road enough then to know what to expect, to know about myself, what was going on the inside, to then just lean in a bit more and push. And so that Miracles tour, along with the album, was very much like, I'm just going to jump off the edge here and trust that I'm going to fly. And it's going to be scary, and I'm going to have fears, but I need to push it. I don't want to be safe anymore. And I can hear that in the actual album itself. I was lucky enough to be, when I was mixing it, Andrew Sheps, who's done everybody from like Rival Sons, Kaleo, Chili Peppers. Like he's a pioneer, a mix engineer pioneer. And so he was overseeing my mixes as well, and he regularly encouraged me to just like, man, you push, just keep pushing. You don't have to be being too safe here. Just go all the way. And so that's what Miracles was. And but stripped down, amped up, I feel like is it rocks a little harder. It's like where we ended up getting to on the stages of the Miracles album towards the end is where we start for stripped down, amped up.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, like we're still going to go to some of those deep and meaningful and contemplative places, but as a set, as a whole, it's got a lot of fire, a bit more anger in it. Actually, there's anger. Anger was not really a common thing in my last couple of sets. It was more, if there were any emotions, you would have felt definitely sort of dreamy and bliss and sadness and gloominess and probably a bit of swagger and kink and fun, and that's always in my stuff, but not anger. Anger's in this one. There's anger in this one. So yeah, but
great outlet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like as that clip suggests, it's like that's the original connection comes from it's a means of self-expression, but my favorite thing that makes the live experience magical is to be able to take something and offer it through music, and everybody experiences their own version of that feeling, and we all do that collectively together in a room. That's pretty cool.
All right, let's walk through a few early moments, if you don't mind, mate.
Sure. Yeah.
So obviously began playing guitar at a very early age, almost 5-ish, even using a full-size guitar that had a neck shave down to fit in your very small hands at the time. How do you remember those earliest moments of discovering music?
I remember them vividly. It's funny where I've just moved house, and now I've finally got a spot where I can actually nick my dad's old 1970s Sansui hi-fi system with the record player on top and because he doesn't use it, and I put it in the corner because that's where my love for music started. It started from looking at his record collection and then making mixtapes, and I distinctly remember from watching him around the house play his guitar to these records going, here's Freddie King and that shuffle. But then when I put on Stevie Ray Vaughan, sonically, I just remember going, whoa, this is so big and monstrous and fiery and hi-fi, because that was the 80s, that hi-fi 80s sound. And of course, Dire Straits, and I can smell the vinyl still to this day. And I think what fueled that passion was also not being allowed to play Dad's guitar. Desire needs a river to cross is the quote, and so I got real hungry. Couldn't touch Dad's guitar. I'd try and sneak a look in, which was a hell of a risk because I was actually, pretty terrified of what Dad was going to do if he bust me. But I was willing to take that risk, and he had like this I don't know, I think it was called a West Tone or something like that. It's this honey-colored one, and just looking at it, everything about a guitar I loved, from the look and how it shimmered, to the string, the shape, the curves, and then plugging it in and the noise that it'd make, and so that's kind of where my love and the music is a soundtrack to memories as well. So some of my favorite memories and also my sad ones and everything, there's all this music going around at that time, whether it's being in the back of my mum and dad's Kingswood going on holidays, and straight away we'd put on Sultans of Swing.
And undoubtedly your love for Knopfler grew from there. But, we'll touch on that one shortly, but obviously, in around that age 6, mate, battling something that no kid should definitely have to go through, with childhood cancer, effectively leukemia. The guitar obviously became a massive outlet for you and a lifeline for you. How do you think that kind of music that you developed even over that time, or jammed to, or listened to even, helped kind of shape that way that you kind of navigated through that phase of your life?
Yeah, I think luckily I had learned enough skills before I was sick to be able to then use it as a means of self-expression. So, but if I was looking at like what I was listening to, like what we listen to, what we're drawn to is it's so true when you think of it as mirroring what we either want to say that we can't, or what we want to feel. That it's a catalyst for emotion, and so I was. It's no wonder that Roy Buchanan's weeping, sad guitar melodies would resonate with me as a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old because of what I was going through. But then, Scuttlebutton by Stevie Ray Vaughan was also something that resonated with me because that spoke to the craziness of being a child and the fire but then also got into, some rock, because the rock allowed me to kind of be like that was the anger. But Martin Knopfler, I felt like Dire Straits had so many different emotions for me, allowed me to express so many different emotions, because it felt summery at times, so it kind of took me away. But then there were songs like Brothers in Arms and stuff that would just be like, oh. And without realizing, I obviously had a really special means of being able to digest emotions, and that was really important during that time when essentially I was trapped in a darkness.
Yeah, and people can jump online, and this is been well documented, the Starlight Foundation and your connection to it. But that whole story of being granted a wish, and in your case, possibly one of the most extreme or out there wishes that you could hope for in a life. You had a list, I believe, and this was one that sat there on that list of, let me just put something out there. Who knows, right? You just never know. And your never know was getting to play and be around and get your family across, which was an incredible story with Mark Knopfler. But he obviously described you as your playing is unbelievable. Now, to hear that and still feel that after all these years, what do you remember when you were a young kid being in that moment with your family, being with Mark Knopfler, and that that amazing moment?
Yeah, I mean, it was very surreal. I mean, as a kid, you can never really know what an epic thing that is. It's I mean, and that goes with my whole career. When I was a kid, I appreciated it, but I also didn't know any better because I hadn't lived much life. And I just remember, like, it was almost like the posters on my back of the wall of Dire Straits and Martin Knopfler came to life when he walked into that studio. It's like it's incredible. But then I'm still just that kid from Roos, Campbelltown, in the suburbs. And when he said to me, and it was funny, I was watching a little bit of footage, uncut footage from that moment, and he said to me, "So what do you want to jam on?" And Dad and I had practiced like a bit of a jam. And it was just 12-bar blues, but sometimes Dad would for the guitar geeks out there, he'd use sort of 13th and 9th chords instead of just a typical blues. So instead of me just going, oh, just a 12-bar blues, I wasn't trying to be smart. I just was like, this is what I was familiar with. So it was like, Mark's like, yeah, so what do you want to jam over? And he goes, oh, how about a 12-bar blues using the 13th and 9th chords? I know by the look on his face in that footage that he did not expect that from a 6-year-old, so a 7-year-old. And then away we went. And it was great. And he took the time, like there was no rush, and also being, so green and naive that when he said he wanted to give me a guitar because I didn't have my own, I said to him like, oh, okay, thank you so much. Like, make sure you let us know how much it is so we can fix you up for it. And so, yeah, It's and it was waiting for me when I got home, which is wild. And that guitar was with me on many of a Hey Hey Saturday and Day Show appearance.
And the incredible part about that guitar is it wasn't just one from a shop. It was the real
it was
deal.
From his collection.
One from his collection.
I didn't
incredible.
I didn't know that until I was in my 30s, many years later. Like I just thought it was straight from the Fernandez factory, and we almost sold it when things got tough. And I was like, I can't do that. And then this memorabilia expert of Mark's reached out to me, and he said, "Do you know that that's from his collection?" And he pointed out a couple of unique spots on the guitar, and I saw a photo of him and Bob Dylan, and there is the guitar in the background. I'm like, holy shit.
Wow.
And I got an inkling of it when my guitar tech opened it up, and he said, this is not the real they're not the stock pickups. And he said, there's been, and I'm like, oh, okay, I wonder. So there we go. But I don't flash that around too much now after seeing how much his guitar collection went for.
Yeah, absolutely. Hidden away beautifully.
Yeah.
All right, we're just going to touch on this next section. We call it the rising, in my opinion. As a child prodigy at the time, the incredible moments of being 12, you became involved in a bidding war, effectively. Who would have thought at that phase, in amongst some of the most incredible labels of Michael Jackson, Prince, and Madonna? How did you process that when you were so young? Were you kind of, could you process that, or were you kind of a little removed from that?
I was like, when I was told about it, I mean, like, so just for some perspective, it's like I'd battled leukemia, then I was on the road with Jimmy Barnes and Diesel, and that was my life. Like life. So we're doing albums, we're doing record deals, but that was my norm. What felt big was just the idea of America. I had been there, and when Albert Collins invited me to get up on stage with him at the San Francisco Blues Festival, that was huge. I remember going, I heard a rumor that he wanted me up there, and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed that whole day, and then it happened. But with Michael Jackson, Madonna, and Prince, the first thing I said when Mum and Dad brought this to my attention was, I said, "Who's Prince?" I didn't know who Prince was.
Yeah.
And Madonna, sort of, I suppose I knew a little bit of who she was, but in my head I was like, oh, I don't want to be a pop star. And then there was Michael Jackson, and same thing. I was like, are they going to make me pop? And but it wasn't until like I started to live that life and I signed the deal that it started to feel really big, like really, really big, because we were just in a different world as well. We're staying in LA for 6 to 8 months at a time. It's weird walking around Hollywood. I'm having conversations with Joe Pesci and sitting with George Michael, and Chevy Chase is talking to me about the C Major 7 arpeggios, and it was just like these people. The movie scene probably shook me up more than say music did, because you're watching, these are actors. I mean, I think they just have a little bit more show around them, whereas a lot of the artists that I loved were more pretty humble and chill and just blues artists. So yeah, it was chaos. It was wild. But the whole family stuck together throughout it. That was really important. I'm so glad my parents didn't budge on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, B.B. King, one of the all-time great blues, just incredible human being, in what he's been able to achieve and brings, and that feel that he can kind of just generate on stage is incredible. I didn't really discover blues until, honestly, it was completely off key and off genre, but it was actually through U2 and that tour that B.B. King did. And that's when I went after that. I kind of really started to go down the
Yeah,
like,
cool.
what is this thing, you know? And so I think that cross genre thing's amazing. But you know, you discovered him obviously in touring at around 16, and it's something any musician would dream of and love to have had that opportunity. But can you give me one lesson that you kind of learned from BB King that would kind of stay with you today and you could still hear in his voice?
Probably two things. One was from our observation, and the other is from his voice. So, firstly, is man that blues that he played in that live show, power, like power. I think the 80s and the 90s have a lot to answer for when it comes to people having a misunderstanding about what blues is and how it should be played. There was a lot of really light blues that came from people probably going through the motions a little bit, maybe even misunderstanding what they're hearing on there. Because, you know, it's not like back then we had a lot of blues touring artists coming to Australia as well. But you know, when you're when you're in front of a BB King band, they're hard hitters. They are putting it like they got sweat dripping off them. They are, you know, when they're shuffling, it's you know, it's like, and it's just power. It's so much power and so much fire, and so it was a reminder of that for me. Is that there's a time to be light and there's a time to just dig in and put it all out there. The other is in authenticity, because he always said, be you. And I didn't know what it meant at the time. And I sort of had an idea, but not really. I was very young. But that has served me in many different situations throughout my life. Like he's been a very big spiritual anchor for me. Authenticity is one of them, and just having just a little bit more faith in the unknown.
Sure. Yeah. Being prepared to crack that egg open and, you know, as we talked about at the start, that vulnerability.
Yeah, for sure.
A place you've done a lot of work,
Yeah.
which is amazing. And yeah, just want to congratulate you on that, mate. Being prepared to do all that.
Yeah.
And that brings me to some of the turning points and personal challenges and stuff you've been through. But you know, it's well documented. Some of your story includes things like burnout, anxiety, depression, all the things that I wouldn't say they're touch words these days, but they're very much part of where we are and where life is. I hope there's a lot more awareness around it than when you were going through these kind of things, and you being able to get on the road and tell your story and for people to feel it and understand it as well. I think that's the most important part. But some of those challenges that, you know, pulled you away from music. What was that turning point that you realized, you know, that you needed to get back into music, you know, because you had some time away there?
Yeah. I had about 4 years away, and I think I had realized, like, life got really small in a sense that I felt like I was going loony, where even just walking out the door was an issue, was a mental ordeal. And so then I started learning about the mind, the body, how I relate to myself, all the bullshit that's in the head, you know, all that stuff. And then for every bit of knowledge that I get, then I'd apply it and my world would open back up again. But at that point there, I was so low that there's no way in the world that I ever thought that I'd be able to get back up on stage. I was like, music's done. The only thing that exists in my life musically was my day job as a screen composer, and I still kept writing music because it was self-expression. That's it. The idea of getting up on stage terrified me. And then I also got shitty with myself because I was like, I've toured the world. I've done some of the biggest gigs. Why am I feeling like this? And either or, I was just like, okay, it's done. But I suppose when I started to see all these other areas of my life open back up again, then I thought, well, like I didn't believe that opinion that I had on music and performing that I didn't like it anymore, because I was like, well, maybe it's the fear that's actually suffocating the desire. Because there are all these other things that I thought I didn't like anymore that I love. And it was kind of like once the fear dissolves, or I can coexist with it, then I can see that spark and feel, what this heart wants. Maybe it's the same with music, and it just didn't feel right to throw away something that I've been doing since I was 6, 7 years old because of fear. That was the obvious thing. It was like, if I turn my back on this, it's because of fear. I need to see what's under the fear. And then I make myself a deal. Start throwing yourself back up on stage, work with the fear until it dissolves, and then see, do you like it? Do you want to keep doing it? And that's the deal. I gave myself in 2019, I think it was 18 or 19. And and I'm here bloody loving it. So yeah, that was a huge turning point, but it was scary. It was really, really tough getting back up on stage though for that first year.
Yeah. And you openly talk about, what a lot of people go through, but that anxiety factor leading to panic attacks, those kind of things are absolutely debilitating. You couldn't even think of performing and playing music, something that not only were you blessed with, but you'd worked bloody hard at. Let's not grey the waters here that people just think Nathan Cavaleri was just one of those blessed kids.
Nah.
Just played guitar and was around the right people. Mate, this kid worked hard.
Yeah.
And did everything like a best sportsman that can be. These people don't just get blessed with talent. They create it and they work bloody hard, and all these things behind the scenes that people don't appreciate. That moment where all that kind of stopped and was taken away from you almost because of that, that fear. How did that really change your relationship with performing? Because when you got, what did you change? What changed for you when you kind of got back up there? I know it was a case of get back out there and have a crack.
Well, I think, they often say that your challenges don't make much sense until you're on the other side of them and you go, okay, that's why that's supposed to happen. There's been many, many good things that have come out of that darkness. One of them got me reconnected with music, back to self-expression. Not because remember, like I was writing and playing at a time where I thought I would never be able to perform or release music again, yet I still kept doing it. So I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I wasn't trying to sell records, get on the radio, or sell tickets. It was just for me. And so that body of work, that mechanism now is my anchor. And I know when I'm starting to drift too far, and then I've got to go back to that again. So when I got back up on stage, it was as me. And I remember having funny enough, having a conversation with Rusty from Electric Mary, because I'd had all these songs, and I was like, all right, I think I need to get back out there. I've had a couple of jams. I know I can do this. Let's give it a go. Still terrified, but I don't know whether I should be singing these songs, because I still had these voices from the past of really influential people in my life saying, you're never going to be a singer. Stop singing. Right. And so then obviously something inside me wanted to keep singing, but I had a terrible insecurity of my voice that was stopping me from letting go. And I really wanted to be sure if I was going to go back out there as Nathan Cavaleri, because I hadn't released anything or done anything since 1999, and that I need to be all in. And I called Rusty and I said, because he heard me, and I said, dude, you got to tell me the truth. Like, I don't know which way is up or down. Like, I'm singing these songs, and I sent them to him, but I just can't shake those voices in my head. And he said, man, firstly, my opinion is you got to sing your own songs. You sound fucking great, right? But to yourself, you got to go back to that place and you go, Why do you sing? You got to sing to please you. Sing to please you. You got ears. Use your ears. Don't think about like what you think other people might like or whatever. Sing to please you. It's self-expression, just like the guitar, but it's the voice.
Yep.
Um, and that was Echo Diesel said the same thing to me. Ash Gromwald said the same thing to me, and people were just yelling it at me. And then these were all the same people that were saying you need to produce your own stuff as well, because I'd been a producer for a long time. And so they really helped me to get beyond the doubts. And so that's what I brought on stage when I launched under my own name with Demons. It was just me, unapologetically me, with all my imperfections. And I think that's what felt really good about it, because I wasn't trying to be anything more than what I am.
Yeah.
Because that takes energy.
Absolutely. And other than the voices and the noises in your head of hearing other people that were, I suppose you took as, you heard the negative voices, right? Then you started to believe and hear some of the voices of people that you respected as well. How did that really change your perspective into where you kind of push your music to today and your next version of your journey?
Yeah, I think one of the big things was Lockie Doley said to me, he goes, and it wasn't in relation to anything of mine or anything, but in conversation he said, somebody told me just because you like something doesn't mean you have to do it, that you have to be the one to do it. We all have our strengths. Work outwards from what your strength is. And I related that to my voice, also the guitar, but I had a lot of limitations when it comes to voice. So that really helped to shape me, a mix of that, pointing me in the right direction, anchoring me with the encouragement from the outside forces as well. That's what has created my style and got me to a point where I actually enjoy singing. I really enjoy singing. And of course, I enjoy playing guitar as well. Guitar was another thing that I felt like needed a little bit of nudge, because whilst like Electric Mary, which then influenced my old band Nat Cole and the Kings, was heavily guitar driven, I found it really difficult to shake all that bullshit fucking, sorry, can I swear?
Absolutely.
The late 90s, early noughties record company crap that was 3 minutes and 20 seconds is a song, throw the instrumentals out, guitar should just kind of support, and then that's it. It's the typical pop thing.
Yeah.
Even though I thought I challenged that and really rattled that and got that out of my system with Nat Cole and the Kings, it was still there. It was still there, and it's probably only now, I think Stripped Down Amped Up is taking it even more to the next level, going, and I'm opening up whole parts of my set to just be instrumental, to just create some mad riffs and awesome melodies and just really experiment and let loose and break some rules here. So I'm lucky. I'm lucky that I've got good creatives around me. It's still, I remember doing a Q&A series, Casey Chambers, and Steve Morse, Diesel, Rusty, Wes Carr. They all release music, and they're not really paying attention to, they don't really, when they create music, they're not thinking about whether the audience is going to like it or not. They're just being themselves, and it'll land how it'll land. Paul Kelly said the same thing as well. He's like, I write my songs, and then they're out of my hands. The song will do what it'll do, and he surrenders to that. I find all of that really difficult. I find it difficult, and I mean, I keep coming back to it, but I think I was just brainwashed a little bit too much during really a time when I was very suggestible as an adult, as a kid going to be an adult and trying to work out the way of the industry. That was a time where I had the wrong people around me.
Yeah, those super influential years that kind of form you and shape you, and it's quite a hard shell to snap
Yeah,
off.
it is. And I didn't have that when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I actually had the opposite. I had people around me that were going, dude, be you.
Yeah.
Like, just get out there. Be you. I mean, as a 12-year-old blues guitarist, I wasn't following any rules, like, and it was just amazing how when I hit my teenage years, take insecurities and mix them with a curiosity to want to know more that goes on behind the scenes. It goes beyond, like, I want to understand the music industry. I want to understand marketing. They're things that fascinated me, but with the wrong people.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
what
right.
screwed me up for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're going to give you a chance to have a quick little rest, and we're going to play a song, a bit of a birthing moment, let's call it, with
yeah.
Miracles. Here we go.
Yeah, go for it. Everywhere I walk, I sing. Today, illuminated by night who thinks you can't see, can't see. Power and hate, no faith, no faith. Your kids keep dreaming, let them try you with the clickbait landmines. And you wish and wonder, always tragedy makes
Miracles happen all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, do they? What's been your latest? Has there been one recently in that feeling of not a miracle in verbatim form, but have you had one of those kind of moments in the latter part of your journey so far that where you just gone, wow, that was cool. I wasn't expecting that.
I think, obviously the obvious was like when my kids were born and it's funny, I wrote that song during COVID because I was just getting tired of the only bit of bad news, and so then our brains end up becoming so pessimistic and cynical and like faith, and well, what if we also balance that out by alerting people for every time something good happens, anytime there's a miracle, anytime there's a remission or whatever it is, like I think we'd feel very differently about the world, and so that's why I wrote miracles. Like I went through a lot over the last couple of years, separating from mother and kids, and that was its own dark period. And so to me, that version of the miracle, what comes out of the unknown, what comes out of that darkness, and where I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And when I say that, it's not because of the relationship that I was in, it's because I didn't know how I was going to get through it after we separated. So, and but now, like I've got a partner, 2 years on, that I love deeply, and from just moving, finding a place, setting up a new home, kids, it's I think a mix of my own intuition and spirits or somebody looking out for me, helping me through that dark chaos. So,
yeah. And out the other side, most importantly, and so much to give to so many people, because they can feel a connection, a genuine, honest connection with someone that is prepared to open themselves up and tell them your story, right? Everyone's got a story, and that's kind of why we started this podcast, for a chat. Who gets out of it, what, when, is always, a discussion that I get, or I get a message or an inbox from someone at the weirdest times going, this interview from 2 years ago, and
Yeah.
mate, I can't believe you're talking about that, and it's so relevant to me right
Yeah.
now. And there are all those moments that the music, a journey of music can bring. People can get so many things out of new albums and different albums and going down rabbit holes. But for you, Miracles, it kind of pushed you. It feels like in another direction, out of what people knew you for. In that blues rock kind of feel, but more a bit of a gritty, more surf rocky kind of psych rock almost journey, which everyone seems to be on these days with the psych rock feel. If you're not playing psych rock now, you're kind of not playing, and which is really cool. But is there someone in that kind of space, a band, an artist that kind of moved you that way or felt that way, or it's just an outpouring
I don't know,
of where
it's
you
just kind of a part of it was just natural. I was grew up also listening to all the sort of psychedelic surf bands from the 60s and 70s, and not that there was a lot, but it can start from just going, hey, I'm going to play something, I'm going to turn the reverb up a bit more. And then I was like, oh, there's a flavor there, let's go there. And then you start hearing flavors in other people's stuff. So I remember the first that I heard it in the modern world, with some of those slight psychedelic dream flavors, was actually a Lana Del Rey album called Ultraviolence. And I'm like, oh man, they are such awesome sounds. How do I bring that into the world blues rock? And then I heard some King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and those guys inspired me so much for a lot of different reasons. And I'm like, yeah, there's a band that's breaking some rules. And so I just pick up all these different flavors until I just put it in a big pot and stir it around. And Miracles, I know I was kind of getting there a little bit with Demons, the previous album, but Miracles, for me to fully go there, that's when Andrew Sheps is like, I know what you're trying to do, go there, don't be safe. And I think I'm not really convinced. Like, if I had all the skills that I had now back when I was a kid, I probably wouldn't have played what I played back then. Like, traditional blues only allowed me to express so much. There were other emotions that I couldn't express, that style of music didn't allow me to express. And so this is where we are today. And why it was a tough decision to make, though, because once I finished it, I went, oh God, are people going to hate it? So these people, the traditional blues world that welcomed me, their community, supported me, now. So far so good. It's I don't think it's too far out, but I mean, I think that anybody who only likes the 12-bar blues may be disappointed, but I still can't play a set without playing a 12-bar blues. So
yeah, as you should. Just a little homage.
You have to. Yeah,
absolutely. Just a couple of last ones, mate. Obviously, you've become an incredible advocate, I think, and for mental health in especially, and if people haven't acknowledged that, they're about to acknowledge that in amongst your tour coming up. But what messages do you feel most compelled you to share with people that are facing similar struggles? What kind of message do you want to get from this tour that you want people to kind of feel and understand?
Yeah, if there is a message, I mean, there's so many lessons here, but I think one is that and this is something that tripped me up, that I see it trips up a lot of people, and they probably just trivialize it a little too much, is getting a little better at working with your own emotions and physical states. I believe that the body gives feedback all the time on what we do and what we need to address. And we do live in a world where our goals and that can be how we want to feel, how much money we want to make, going to work, doing the things. We don't set ourselves up to have the best connection with ourselves, understand what it is we truly need. And that's when we start smashing the little dashboard lights on the car. We're fanging it down the freeway, and we're putting the foot all the way down, and then the engine light starts flashing, and we just go bang, nah, cover that up, and then wonder why we're on the side of the road, and our tires are all burnt out. And so I'm a huge advocate for paying attention to your body and listening to it, and a little less of this and more of that. And along with that comes the other lesson of for every challenge that is on our presented to us on our path, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. It's not a block. It's not a battle. It's if we approach it like a battle because we're not respecting that, hey, this is the lesson that we learn, then it turns into a war. And then it feels like it's me versus life, me versus my body, me versus my mind, rather than a collaboration. When you've got a problem with your mind, or you got a problem with your body, or you got a problem with your bank account, or whatever it is, it's a puzzle to be solved, and it can always be solved. I truly believe that. It might not be solved in the way that you think it should be solved, but there is a solution somewhere there. And so now that really keeps my head above water these days, especially when I'm feeling really down or exhausted. I've got to trust this process. I've got to trust this challenge that's been presented to me, and somehow I'll work it out. I've got to listen, see what it's trying to help me. And one thing I'll get up on my box a little bit is that I do use I can never say it, GPT. Do use it, right? And I can see how this can be another thing that stops us from finding answers. We know more about what to do in a moment than what we think. It is my answers that have come out of me just if I take the time to have a conversation with myself.
Yeah.
And using AI every time you've got a fucking question is taking us further away from finding it ourselves. I mean, I still use it, gotta watch it, that's all. So
yeah, it's kind of like the old analogy of we've become so used to Navmans and Waze and all these apps to try and get around, and how about we just get out and get lost for a while, right?
You get lost,
work it out, right? You'll work it out. You
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. So embrace the unknown. And I remember having after this, I've got a song called Tilba that's out, that's on the 12 string. It's a beautiful little song, and that was inspired by a time when I just separated from the mother kids, and I was like, I don't even know what's around the corner. I don't know what tomorrow is going to hold for me. Never been in a position where there was that much unknown, big pillar stuff. And I remember getting swept up in my head because, your fears in your head, they're ultimately trying to protect you. But in doing that, they just draw on every single obstacle and every single shit thing that's happened to you in the past. And they flash it in front of your mind to go, be careful, careful, careful. And just feel shit about it, right? Because that's the illusion that you're going to walk into that. And this drive coming back from a gig in Birmingham, beautiful rolling hills with a good friend of mine. And I realized I was passing through Tilba, and I just went, enough. I can't know what's around the corner. Like, I can't. All this, maybe, whatever. What's the point of me thinking? And beautiful rolling hills just pulled me into the moment. And the window was down, and beautiful breeze, and I just got this reassuring feeling that you can't know what's around the corner. So the best thing you can do right now is just be present. Just be focused on the moment and trust the process, right? Why does one always anticipate that the unknown is a bad thing, right? There may be some challenges, but maybe challenge that. This is where faith comes in. I'm not talking about religious faith, is having a little bit more faith in the unknown every single day. There is some element of the unknown, and it reveals itself to be a good thing, and you're safe and you're good. Like, I go through a bit of shit, but it'll come good. So assume that the unknown is going to reveal itself to be a good thing. Yeah. And that changed everything for me. That whole stormy process for about a good year just each time I get swept up in the mind, keep coming back to that moment, Tilba, and roll with it, you know. And yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, there's a lot to learn from that, a lot to take in. Yeah, these kind of moments where yeah, we can all learn from that. I think we're too quick to jump on the negative. You know, we get brainwashed with so much negative energy of this is going to happen next. There's never a positive. The old classic positive news story, right? It's very rare. They put it at the end of the news after they've told you all the shit that's gone down, and we've been brainwashed in respect of that to believe that the next decision or next thing that's going to happen in your life is negative, right?
Yep. Well, I remember seeing a little quote in Dalai Lama's The Art of Happiness, and it was something along the lines of, "It's not our birthright to be happy." So, meaning like you've got to work at it. It's not like get rid of like you have to work at being positive. You have to work at, and I also don't believe in like full blown positive psychology in the sense where we demonize all these other things that we don't like, because then that's how we create these wars. But at least just widen the lens, that if you're going to go and entertain the negative, entertain the positive as well. Like include it, widen the lens, and that is probably a better, you know, at least a little bit more of a realistic picture of what you may be feeling. And diet, you know, it's like mental diet. You've got to switch all that shit off. Like, and we subscribe to it. It's because it's the more unsafe we feel. So the more negative news we get, the more unsafe we feel, and then the inner protector, which is the fear, will then draw more information as a way to try and arm you with, because like it's trying to help. And then that gives us more reasons to feel unsafe, and around we go. And like I've realized here that after working through all the layers to be able to get myself to a point where I feel free up on stage and free in lots of different areas of life, is that there's still just this background noise in certain areas where I feel unsafe, and that comes from just a long time of being exposed to the wrong types of energy, not catching my thoughts. And, the internet is a beautiful thing, but it's also it's up to you to control what you absorbed from it. Because, you know, if you just take everything in, it'll give you every reason to feel unsafe when you feel safe. So
yeah, totally agree. And you know, I just had a vision of something like a dartboard, right? I haven't even looked up the reason that the numbers are positioned where they are, but it doesn't purposely go 1, 2, 3 all the way around, right? There's a 1 next to a 20, which is next to a 5, and you know what? Sometimes it's a good one, sometimes it's a bad one. It's kind of a journey for life, right? You throw a dart at it, mate. I don't know if it's going to be a good shot or a bad shot. The point is, actually, you're having a shot, right?
That's right. Yeah, and somebody mentioned that even just in terms of releasing music, like keep it going. It's just sometimes you're just throwing shit at the wall. You won't always know what's going to stick. It's out of your hands, and just keep doing it. Eventually, something will stick.
Yeah, correct. It can't all fall on the ground. All right, we're going to play just a little bit of Broken Lines, and then we're going to give you a quick fire last few questions to finish off.
No worries.
Here we go. Broken Lines.
2 rolling wheels in the wind on my face is calling. Wide open road to send me out of space is calling. I know what I'm supposed to do. Nothing gets me through like these broken lines. More mountains freezing time. These broken lines is where I go to clear my mind. spirit showed me the ways of the lane. Show it, yeah. Shadow show me how to be a better man. Show it, yeah. Nothing holds me like a stranger in the night. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
God, I love a live album. Raw and gritty, as you said, not perfect, but mate, honestly, thanks for believing in whoever told you or believing in yourself that voice of yours is still the killer instrument, mate. It's growing the more you get older, maturing, they say. You're very much a young, mature man, but thanks for believing in yourself, mate, that you weren't just going to sit there. Well, when I say just a guitarist, you're a hell of a lot more than just a guitarist. But it's probably one of the, the guitar can do one thing. We can throw it through a whole stack of effects and stuff, but the voice is the one we always challenge and probably question the most.
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
All right. We're going to finish with a couple of quick fire questions for you, mate.
Yep.
And thank you once again for being so generous with your time, mate. And it's awesome to connect. We wish you well on this kind of next tour. But a couple here where bear with me a sec. All right. So is there one particular blues lick you kind of still love that you always go back to when warming up, whether it's one of yours or whether it's one of someone else's?
It's probably more of a riff, it's like I think the riff that I play, say in Boho, which is kind of like that I don't know if you can hear it, but it's sort of like stompy. It's that anything from status quo to your blueses and stuff like that. I don't like whenever there's something like that in the set, I feel like I've won already.
Perfect. Yeah,
it loosens me up. It's good.
Awesome. Is there someone you can kind of give me that you think kind of pushed you the most, that you can kind of acknowledge as a musician or an artist or a friend that kind of said, yeah, that person right now or in the last couple of years has been really special, pushing me forward?
Oh, God, that's a tough one. So over the last couple of years, I'd probably say, well, it's a tie between Diesel and Paul Gilday from Icehouse.
Okay, yeah.
Great, incredible friend, great musician, and he's got an amazing ear as well. And him as well as Michael Painter, both of those guys really get me out of my shell and to back myself. Yeah, big time. Yeah,
and we love our mate Rusty Brown on this show, and that's
Rusty,
where we connected. But obviously we talked about the last few years, but obviously we acknowledged Rusty before on his ability to kind of warm you in,
yes,
in fact of giving you the wings to push yourself and believe in yourself and say, mate, you got this, you can do this.
Yeah, I think there was a big period of time Rusty was my anchor, because he even just the way that life brought us together, that tour. I remember Nat Cole and the Kings, we were about to do our first album. The songs we'd already workshopped, ready to go. Went on tour with Electric Mary, came back, went, all right, let's freshen up, rehearsal, played the song completely different to what we originally agreed. This is Nat Cole and the Kings. And the boys stopped and they went, well, fuck, where did that come from? That's amazing. There was just this fire that wasn't there, extroverted fire. And that was thanks to the Electric Man. And then obviously his encouragement came to what I was, a vocalist and a songwriter, and there's not many The music industry is a funny thing. Actually, I wouldn't even say it's just the industry. I think it's in general is appreciative, grateful people. He often, I'll get a text from him that will be a thank you for that tour that we did in 2010. Or just the amount of gratitude that I've received from him about those experiences. It's just, there needs to be more of that. Like I'm a big firm believer of give somebody a compliment, tell them how much you love them, tell them that you're grateful for whatever. And so no, Rusty's a champion. Yeah, got a lot of time for him, and what a singer! Fucking hell.
Yeah,
it's funny. I think that's why I took his opinion really on board, because here is a singer that I love, like that is telling me my own songs. You got to listen.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
All right. If we could only keep one of the influences in your sound, is it blues grit or that new psychedelic edge? Which one is it?
Probably blues grit. Yeah, I love the psychedelic edge, but if I couldn't trade blues grit for that. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. And is there anything you do now backstage? Because we all love hearing about those backstage kind of rituals, or what's in the rider, how's it work? But is there kind of one thing that keeps you grounded now, that you kind of wish maybe you had that as a kid, or when you didn't really know what you did backstage as a kid?
No, I think I've tried all sorts of rituals. I find that if I get too regimented, it actually does the opposite, where I start to get a little bit more tense. I'm a big believer in walks, actually. I don't really like being in the bed. I feel like a trapped wolf or something. Just there's so much adrenaline in me. Being confined into this tiny band room sucks. So I'll go for a walk if the adrenaline's too much. But if it's a nice big band room, it's about, to me, it's about playing it down. It's not about boosting it up, going, we're going to put on the best show ever. No way. Like, I know that. I know that it's to get to peak performance for me, I need to be like, it's just another day in the office, because I'm already idling up here. I care. Of course I care. And my level of like what's acceptable is just way up here. I put on a show and I put things together where if Prince came back from the dead and he walked into Shot Kickers, that he would love it. And I'm not just like gonna just do the gig. So that's there as a default, and it's in me. It comes from right from when I was 7 years old. So, but if I push myself too much by saying this is an important gig, this is yada yada, it'll make me anxious, and I'll overplay. I won't be as connected. Play it down, and sometimes just sitting on a couch hanging with whoever's around talking shit. And anything to just keep it light, and fun. And we're in play mode, and then when I get up there, it's about living. Tell you what, that step onto the stage for those who battle with nerve stage is everything. Like that step when you need to have made the decision within yourself that you are leaning, you got to lean. You're on the back foot and you're walking onto the stage tentative. It can be a struggle to get beyond that and feel like this for the whole gig. It's so much easier to go, let's go.
Yeah.
I might be terrified, but let's do this. And you just push yourself out there, lean in with all of your imperfections, with all of your fears, put all of yourself on that stage. And it's kind of like, yeah.
And that moment when you do get to go on stage and the lights go down and you get to plug in for that first time and rip that first note.
Yeah.
Must be an incredible feeling.
It is. And that first 2-3 songs, particularly the first 2 songs, is everything. Like the intro, I've got a different intro this time. Yep. I deliberately chose it because I want it to feel like I've won already. And you got to give yourself, you got to feel a victory early on. Because if there's any nerves, they'll disappear.
Yep. It's like kicking with the wind. Get the goals early. Yep.
Yeah. What's what they say? Make your bed first. It's your first win of the day. Make your bed.
Yep. Perfect.
Matters.
All right. Now the last one for you, mate. We're going to scrap your entire catalog and we're going to leave your legacy with one song.
Oh shit.
Tough
Can't
gig, I
do
know.
that.
So I know you're splitting your kind of kids up, right? But is there one you'd like to be known for?
Oh, no.
Maybe you haven't written it yet. Who knows?
Yeah. I'm just looking at my list right now because I got my set list up. Oh man, I can't. There's no way.
One even in this set list of this gig you're playing and coming up that is kind of the real. Is there one moment for you in amongst that? I know you're on a journey and you take everyone on that journey, but is there one you kind of that everyone as punters should just look out for?
Well, if we're back for you, if we're banging, "Man on Fire," which is the last song, is just that's just. I mean, I'm not breaking any rules with it too much. Like, it's a rock and roll song. It's a psychedelic rock and roll blues song, and it's wild and it's chaotic and everything. But it's kind of also the song that allows me to really let loose and go to all the places. It feels good in my voice. I like what I'm singing about. It's fun. It's a feeling that I like feeling, and guaranteed, no matter what gig we play, everybody's always up. Everybody is always up, and I can solo for 10 minutes.
Awesome.
It's great if I wanted to. As far as like one of the most meaningful songs is probably a song which is called "Before You Check Out," and that's a special song. You go and check out the lyrics to that one. It's more just a lyric folk song. It's basically about knowing between the suffering that's created by your mind versus suffering that is actually happening in the moment. It's up here. So yeah.
Beautiful. All right, Nath, thanks for joining me, mate. You're incredibly generous with your time. I never put a time frame on how long we're going to talk. I like to kind of keep it open and just continue the conversation. I apologize for kind of keeping you in the room for so long, mate, but we could talk forever. But I'd really like to wish you well, mate, on this tour. I'll see you at a couple of them. Shock Kickers will be the one for me. I urge everyone to be in this room, and it's an all ages gig, so you got no excuse.
Actually, I don't think it is. They just told us. I'm not sure, but it's a matinee gig. So it's
okay. Yeah, it is absolutely 2 o'clock.
Yeah, but you might want to just check with the venue. They're giving messages. So
sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. All right, we're going to leave that up to finish the show, so you can jump on and check it out. But also, NathanCavaleri.com is where you need to be. We will put that on the link as well. Get out there and call a mate. Most importantly, say you haven't seen you for a while. Mate, you haven't seen this guy for a while. Come along and check it out.
Calm down. Yeah, for sure.
Cheers. All right, Nath. Good to see you. See you out there.
Take care. See you, mate.
Oh, what a special journey we went on with Nathan Cavaleri. Exciting. We've got some great shows coming up as we move into the latter half of Feb and into March. So keep checking out our socials as well, and we will advertise some more bands shortly. But most importantly, happy Valentine's Day to a lot of people coming up in the next few days. Love them or hate them, it's a day on the agenda. Every day is Valentine's Day. It's just one of the most expensive days ever. But tell your partner it's not about Valentine's Day. Every day for you, for them, is Valentine's Day. But do me a favor, get out to a gig this week, a weekend, and you will be grateful. And everyone will be grateful. The pub, the venue, the artist, and also your friend. You never know when that chat and that next chat you have will be the important one. It just takes a person out of a journey that they're on, or a spiral that they're on. And the exciting part is getting to a gig. And I'd like to thank every artist that takes the stage out there and takes us on that journey, gets us into a place where we forget about life struggles for a little while, and a 45-minute set from an artist transports you to a place that I guarantee you walk out of there a better person. So enjoy the week, and we'll see you out there.